Hello everyone, how you guys doing? This is Niger Coder, and today I have an incredible website here with me. It is an IMDB Clone. It gives you all the latest and trending movies currently. If you look at, we have the light mode and we have the dark mode. We have trending, we have top rated, we have a search bar that you can use to search latest movies with their names. It is an incredible application. We're using API from IMDB. We're using NextJS. We're using ReactJS. We're using useState. We're using params. We're using useRouter. It is just an incredible application. So make sure you watch this video and you learn a lot. So please make sure you subscribe and like the video. It really helps. Thank you. Let's get started. All right, let's get started. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to npx create next app at latest experimental app. We want to do this over here. I've been trying to walk around with this experimental app that has the source folder rather than the pages folder, just to try different things out. Now, over here, would you like to use TypeScript with this project? To say no. Would you like to use ESLint? Say yes. TailwindCss? Yes. Would you like to use the source directory with this project? Yes. What import alias will you use? We use the @ Now, if you don't want to use source directory, you can. It doesn't really stop anything. Those are, you have to create a separate layout file. But that's what we did for our installation. I've already installed mine, so you go ahead and install yours. Now, we'll go to this source directory. Our favorite icon currently is this, so we're going to npm run dev. All right, so we have our project starting at localhost 3000. And our server is still getting compiled. Okay. All right, so this is our project. Now let's get started. I want to come to this favorite icon. Now over here we have this icon with create next app. I want to change this icon. So we're going to go over to favicon.io. Then we're going to say we want to turn the text to an icon. We're going to use change the color a bit. Background color to be this. I'm going to download it. Now that it's downloaded, we want to click this view icon. This is what we want to use. Come down, come over to here. Then take this view icon, place it over here. Yes, we want it to replace. Now this is the favorite icon we want. In our layout file, we want to change the title over here to IMDB Clone. They want to change the description. This is the metadata to created by Niger Coder. All right, so let's look at our projects. We're saying on 10 string constraints. Let's go back. Okay. So you can see our favorite icon and our page name has changed. Now I want to get rid of all this. So we go to our layouts. In our layouts here, have the body, the children, come to page. We want to cancel all of this. Just put this page. So now we're going to refresh. We can see this here. It's giving us this, but we'll clear that later on. Now we're going to go to our layouts and we're going to create a new folder under our source directory. Name that folder component. We're going to create a new file with header into RFC. We're going to say header. We'll go back to our layouts over here in the body. We're going to import our header. Okay. So you can see our header here and our page here. So now we want to come over here into our global CSS. We want to delete all of this. So not using any of that. Okay, clean page now. Okay, so now we're going to create our header components. So come over to our header here. And to do this, we need to install React icons. So let's install React icons. First things first. So we're going to copy this. Come back to our terminal. And install React icons. Alright, so now we're going to run our server again. Then that's not the command. Okay, so now we're going to import some things over in our header JSX. We're going to import now. Let's not import first. Let's just try and code the site, the page. So we're going to cancel this header. We're going to create two divs. And come to this over div here and class name. Going to say flex, justify between, margin at the horizontal level should be 2, and then we have the max width 6XL. Then in small we want MX auto. That means if the screen is small size, we want MX auto. So you know MX auto is margin 0 auto. So after that, we want the items to be centered, and then the padding up and down to 6. Okay, so now we're going to create a new component over here. I'm going to name them menu item. Alright, so over here we're going to RFC menu item. Also going to import link from NextJS. So over here we're going to get some elements in our props. We're going to get title, address, and we're going to get an icon. So over here in our link class name, MX4 large screen, like 6. In the hover, we want the text to be amber. Right. So icon, class name, text 2XL, small screen hidden, MX4. So we're just doing styling here, nothing complex, nothing too serious, just a bit of style. All right, so we're done with this. We'll go back to our header, and over here we're going to It's class name, flex, new item. Title should be home. Address should be home page. Then the icon. So we're going to import our icons now. So we want to import the AI field, home, from React, icons. Info circle field. So after that, we want to also import link from next link. So down here, our icon is going to be AI field. Field info circle. All right, so in the next one here, class name is going to be flex, item center, space, x5. Then we're going to use a link. H2 class name. Okay, so we're done with our span here. And what we want in IDB. Is it IDB or IBD? I always make that mistake. Span, class name. We want text, Excel, Eden, invite. All right, so let's look how our page is coming out. We want to refresh. All right, so we can see here on hover, you can see everything is looking really great. You can see the icons that switch when the screen becomes small. The reason this happens is because in our menu items, over here we have, when it's a small screen, it should be hidden. Okay, no, this over here, the title is hidden. When it's a small screen, it should be inline. Yes, so that's how our page is working currently. So now we want to install the dark mode switch into our code. We're going to expand this. So we're going to install next theme. Okay. All right. So we're going to install Next themes into our application to work with dark mode. So we're going to come over here, sorry, and copy this, and then I'm going to paste it. All right. So now that we've done that, we're going to create a dark mode component over here. We're going to see dark mode switch. And see .jsx. All right. RFC. Dark mode switch. Okay, so now when we install, no, we're not using this. Once we install this, we're going to start on dev. Now, this NextJS package, this next themes package uses the use context, and we're going to create a global variable anywhere in the website so that we can change our mode from light to dark. So it will be making use of the used context hook. I am very sure that you know what the use context hook is. If you don't, just type in the description. I will make a video to explain that for our subscribers. Okay, so it uses the use context hooks to create a value in the site, which helps us to know if the site is on dark mode or light mode. Now, to use NextJS themes, we need to cover our entire page, our entire website with a theme provider here. But because this theme provider is using use context and we aren't allowed to use context in our server-side component JSX, we're going to use a different approach rather than this over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a file over here. It's going to be named providers just JSX. Let's say RFC. We're going to leave that there. So we're going to go to our layout. And in our layout, we're going to wrap our header and children with the provider. So I'm going to take this. Okay, so once we've wrapped that with our provider, we're going to go to our provider. And in our provider, we're going to import theme provider from next themes. Now we're going to take this theme provider and we're going to create here, pass all the children elements. We're going to come here, children, also come here, children, to pass all the children into our provider, because in our layout, everything is getting passed into our providers, and to make that show, we're going to use the children. So now we're going to wrap all this with our theme provider. So once we've done that, okay, so once we've done this now, we're going to also enable the system theme to choose. So if you're using dark mode or light mode in your settings, also in your system, the theme provider will be able to know that and change the value. So if your system is currently, or your browser is currently on dark mode and you visit the website, the site will check. It will check to see what mode you are on. Are you on light or are you on dark? If you're on dark mode, it will change the site to dark mode so that what you can see is dark mode. So we're going to say enable system equals to true. So this is going to allow the system the website to be able to read what the settings are in the browser or the system to enable it to change it to what the user is currently using. So now that we've done that, we want to set what we should see when we're on dark mode and when we're on light mode. We're going to say div class name. Now, if we're on dark mode, we want to say the background should be gray. Should be gray 700. Then we want to also say in dark mode, the text should be gray but 200. They want to say the text in light mode. This, if it's in light mode, should be gray 700. And then transition colors. Then we want to say the duration of the transition will be 300 milliseconds. That's 0.3 of a second. Then the minimum page height screen. The minimum height should be this, the height of the screen. Then we want select. Now this select none is simply just stopping people from copying what is on the website. You don't have to put it, but if you want to just stop people from copying what's on your website, you can also use it. And when I say copying, I mean the text. Like once you've used it now, if we come over here, we may get an error. I hope we don't, because we've not done some other settings. But it's basically to stop this select, or you can see me selecting it. All right, so create context only works in client components. We need to add the use client directory at the top of the file to use it. So that's what I was explaining earlier. So what we're going to do, we don't need this import React from React. So we're just going to from where we say use client. So we're going to refresh and that error should go away. So you can see right now is already in dark mode. That's because my system is currently on dark mode. I think it is. Let me see display. Okay, dark mode is off here. So I think maybe it's my settings in my browser, but it's currently just on dark mode. So we're going to work on that very soon. So we can see here you can't select anymore. See this home, you can't select. That's what this select none does. So that's just what it does. So now we're going to go to our dark mode component, and we're going to come here. First of all, we're going to say use client, so we don't get an error later on. Then we're going to import some icons from React icons. So we're going to say import MD. So we're going to import a light, some buttons so that the user can switch between light mode and dark mode. So we just want to import some of those buttons. Importing this from React icons /MD. So importing BS fill allow. All right, BS. So we're also going to import the use theme. Okay, from next themes. Okay, you're also going to import use effects and also use state. I know you wonder why are we importing use effect and use state. The reason is we want dark mode and light mode. We want these components to only run when the entire app has been mounted. If that makes any sense, because if it's not mounted and this gets run, we will encounter errors. So I'm going to show you in a second. So now that we've done that, I want us to come to our return here. Let's clean this. So here we're going to say current theme. Okay, we're just going to say MD light mode class name text Excel. Please, if there's anything you're confused about, just reply me in the comments. I have some subscribers that do send me messages on Instagram. I do reply them and try to help them as much as I can. So we can only go forward by helping others. So we have this here. So we're going to close this and we're going to create the PS view. Let's say class name, text Excel, and we'll change properties. So we're going to go to our header because it's in our header we're going to display this. So we're going to put space around here. What's the problem? What's the problem? Okay, we didn't close this. Okay. All right, so you can see our icons here, the dark and the light mode. So what we want to do is that if we're on dark mode, we want to show the sunshine. So when the person switches, move to light mode. And if we're on light mode, we want to show this moon sign. So when the person clicks on it, it will switch to dark mode. So we're going to come over here. Now we're going to try and get the thing, if it's currently on dark mode or light mode, so we can know what to display here. So in the use theme, like I told you, use theme uses use context. So in the use theme, we can get that value of if it's dark mode or light mode with the use theme hook. So we're going to do this. We're going to say system, because we can also get the system theme. We want the theme and we want the set theme. This allows us to set the theme. This allows us to set theme, sorry. Then we're going to say equals to use theme. Okay, then we're going to say constant, like we talked about earlier. We want to know if the entire component is mounted or not before we display this component. So we're going to say mounted, set mounted. We're saying equals to use state. So we're going to say at first it is false. Say constant current theme. Hold on. We're going to say use effects. We're going to say set mounted to true. So this use effects only works when the entire site has been mounted, the entire component has been mounted, and site has been mounted. So once that happens and this component has been fully mounted, it will now set the mounted here to be true, so that once it's true, we know we can display this little code here. So we're also going to say constant current theme equals to theme equals to, if theme is equals to system, show system theme, else use our normal theme. All right, so this current theme is simply saying if the theme is equals to system, that means if it is on system, if we're using the system theme, it should use the this thing, current team should be put on system, else it should be the team that we have here. How do I explain this much better? Okay, what I'm trying to say here is that if the system theme is activated, okay, we want to use what the system theme has. If it's a dark or it's light. If we don't see any system theme, we want to use our own theme as the current theme. So now when we come to our code here, we're going to say mounted, and this means that we should only show this code when the page has been fully mounted. So now say mounted, and we're going to say current theme. If the current theme is equals to dark, that means if we have currently dark mode, we want to display this light switch here. Cut this and put it here. But if it is not on dark mode, we want to show this. So let's check our page. Okay, so we see the light button, we don't see the dark button now. Now we need to enable this button. So what we need to do, we need to come over here. We need to say on this light mode, we're going to say on click. We're going to say it's a function. I'm going to say set the theme. So when they click it, set the theme to light. Then we're going to copy this. I'm going to say here, set the theme to dark. We're going to save that. What's the matter? All right, so here, all right, beautiful. So now what happens is that this becomes a button. So when we click this, we can set the theme to light and dark. Then if we click it again, we can set it to light. So beautiful. Okay, so we're going to start off. We're going to continue with creating an about page. You can do that by going to the source directory. Okay, no, not the source directory, sorry, the app directory. Creating a folder called about. And then in this folder, we create a new file called page.jsx. Okay, we're going to say RFC, change this to about. Then we're going to come down here and put in just some styling. I'm going to say class name. We're going to say max W6XL. That's the max width. Margin auto. We're going to say space. On the y-axis, up and down should be 4. I'm going to say padding of 4. Okay, and then we're going to create a new tag. We're going to say h1 class name. You're going to say text 2 times extra large font medium, and we're going to close this. We're going to say about. Then under here, you can write up, do your write up. I'm just going to paste my own write up. This and coming. And this. So this is my write up here. Welcome to our movie database. This is that. So we're going back to our site, refresh, about, and we have our about information here. And this is looking a bit dull, so we're going to come back to our provider. Yes, here, text gray. Here, we're going to cancel this. I'm going to say white. Refresh. And it's not fully working, it's still gray. What we're going to do, we're going to try and restart our server and see if that will help. Okay, so it's not as bright as I want it to be. Darken switch. Alright, we'll just leave that for now. Probably later on we'll change it to something else. Okay, so we've done with our about page. Now we need to create a navigation bar. Navigation bar up here. So we're going to go back to our components. We're going to create a new folder. I'm going to say navbar.jsx into RFC. Okay, and that is that. So we're going to say div, we're going to say class name, and say flex, justify center, the dark, BG gray, 5600. We're going to say BG amber, 100. We're going to say large screen, the text should be large, and padding should be 4. Now I'm going to go back to this above, and I'm going to come here. I'm going to come to this div. I'm going to say dark text right. Let's see if this will help. Okay, it doesn't help. Alright, so let's just go back to our navbar. We've done our padding 4. So now we're going to create navbar item, like we did in our last when we're doing our menu item. We're going to create navbar item. I'm going to come back. I'm going to say navbar item. That's JSX. We're going to say RFC. Okay. Then we're going to say navbar item. We're going to try and get whenever we're calling the navbar item, we're going to try and pass in a title and a param. Okay, so I'll explain it more once I'm done, but we're just going to do it like this. Then we're also going to import a link, the link tag from NextJS. We're going to come down here. We're going to say div. We're going to say link, class name. We're going to say margin 4. We're going to say over text amber 600. Font semi-bold. Okay, and a padding of 2. Okay, we're also going to say ref. This ref, we're going to say take us to gen and give us a dynamic this wants a dynamic link. So let's say gen equals to our params that we pass, these params that we pass over here. So the link now, we're going to use title. We're going to save this. So we're going to go back to our navbar. I'm going to say navbar item. I'm going to say title, travel. I'm going to say param, fetch trending. You need to copy this. You see it's top rated. I'm going to say fetch top rated. Okay, we're going to save that. We're going to come back to our home. Now, we've done this, so we need to display it in every page. So to do that, we'll go back to our layout. And here we have our header. So we need to come down and say our nav bar should be here. Well, we save that. We should see our nav bar appear. We will not see. Okay, beautiful. So our nav bar have appeared. I'll show you something. When you click trending, you can see this. The gen changes, the link changes to gen equals to fetch trending. It is still the home page. It's just that we have added a param to our link. So you can see this. If we click top rated, it changes to fetch top rated. If we click trending, it changes to fetch trending. Now we want to do it in a way that if we're on trending, our fetch trending is on our link here. We want this to be underlined so the user knows we're in trending. If we click top rated, we want this to be underlined because we are currently on top rated and the underline here should go. So how are we going to do that? It's very, very simple. We're going to go to our navbar item. We're going to import the use search params. Am I spelling the search correctly? I think I am. Okay. From next navigation. And I'm going to delete this. To be able to use this here, this is a client side. So this is not a server side. So what we're going to try to change it to client side. So we're going to say use client. Up here, so it doesn't give us an error. So we import the use search params, and we're going to come here. This use search params is going to allow us to have access to this gen here, this params here, so we can get this value for ourselves. Okay, so when we go back, we're going to say constant search params equals to use search params. Then we're going to say constant gen equals to search params dot get. So we're going to get the gen. Okay, so once we get the gen, we know the gen we're currently on. So what we're going to say, we're going to come here in our class name. We're going to style it differently if we're on the current gen. Okay, so we've done M4. We're getting a little bit of error here. I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, maybe it's this. No, maybe that. Well, I'm getting a bit of an error. Okay, I understand why now. We need to put the curly braces here. Right, so we've done that. Now, inside here, we're going to do a check. We're going to check what the gen is. Now, we're going to say, with $sign here. We're going to say if there's a gen, that means if there's actually something in, if there's actually something here, if we actually have a params with gen, that's what we want to check. So if we do have a params with gen, we want to put this alongside. We want to say if the gen matches with the params, meaning if the title here, fetch top rated, matches with the params we get for this nav item, because we get a params here. So we want to check if the gen matches with the param, then and only then would we get this this class. So we're going to say underline. We're going to say underline offset 8 dev colon declaration. 4 decoration amber 500 rounded large. I'm going to save, come back. So we'll just run this to refresh. Okay, so we can see top rated, underline, trending, underline, top rated. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so now that that's done, we want to now try and start fetching our movies. So what we're going to do, what you're going to do anyways, is you're going to come to TMDB. Look at the link here, themoviedb.org. You go here, you create an account. I want you to create an account, and then I want you to go over to your settings. In your settings, you will see API here. This is my API key. When it comes to API, you may not get this instantly. You may have to, do some steps to get your API key. So we'll just go over those steps, and you should be okay. Okay. So I've gotten this is my API key here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a what they call it again, .env.local file. I'm going to copy this. Let's copy. I'm going to close all of this. So let's create a new file. It's going to be .env.local. And I'm going to say API underscore key equals to this. All right. So now that I've done that, I'm going to escape. I'm going to come over to my page. Now, this API key has documentation. You can come over to here and go to documentation. You can go through the documentation. I highly suggest you should, in case you want to edit this project to your own personal liking. But we're not going to go over the documentation today. We're just going to go straight into our code, not to make this video too long. Okay. So now I'm going to edit this page. This page that we're here. First of all, we're going to get our API key. We're going to say constant API underscore key. Okay, this should not be in capital letters. I'm going to say process.env.api underscore key. Okay, so here we're going to make this an async function, only possible with NextJS. And we're going to get something called the search params. This allows us to get the search params in here. Okay, hold on. This allows us to get the search params here instantly rather than doing any other step. So we're going to get it as props, or we're going to search params. So we're going to get that. We're going to say constant gen equals to search params dot gen. So if we don't have, if we come to the home page and we don't have any search params, so this is going to return as undefined. So if this returns as undefined, we want to also still be able to do something. We're going to say fetch training if we don't have anything in the params here. So we're going to inspect what we're going to do. We're going to console log this join. So we can actually see what's going on. Console, clear, click this, refresh. And we're not seeing anything. Let's come back. Page. I'm not seeing anything. I'll console.log. Let's go back. Why could that be? Why could that be? Why have we not seen anything in our console.log? Export default async function home search params student join. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. I'm not seeing anything now. Console. I wonder why. Let's try and console log something else. Let's see if we'll get something. Okay. Our console log is showing it here. Okay, I forgot myself that this is server-side component. It is not a client-side component, so it will show what it wants to show here. It will not show it here. Sorry about that. Silly me. Fetch top rated. So we can see that this is working. Like when we clicked top rated, you can see showing here fetch top rated, and also our what that we were showing. So we're going to cancel that. Now that we're getting our constant join, we're going to create a new fetch. We're going to say constant res, that's our response, equals to await fetch. Okay, so now if you went through the documentation, you would okay, you would see this. So let's copy this. Let's come back here. So we're going to say fetch. Okay, the moving 3 here, trending. Here, I want to change this. All week. Okay. So here we're going to change this. We're going to say $. We're going to say if gen equals to fetch top rated, right? We want to use movies / top screen rated. Okay, else if it doesn't, we want to say trending all week. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to say API key equals to, or API key with $. Let's say API key, and we also want to add this from here, and language should be English US page 1. All right, so now since this is a server-side component, we don't need this to, if a user comes into the site and this loads, if a user comes back to the site in like 10 minutes time, we don't want this to reload again, because anytime a client, a individual loads this, it gets saved to our server side, and once it's saved to our server side, all other users will come and access that patched data that is on our server. Now, we don't want this to be refreshing all the time, because this doesn't change all the time. This is movie, this is top trending all week, this is movies. It doesn't change every minute. It may change, maybe let's say every 3 hours or every day. The top rated will change, but it's not a constant something. So what we're going to say, this is something that is in the NextJS docs. I advise you go check it out yourself as well. What we're going to say here, we're going to say next, we're going to say revalidate. This revalidate will tell it how long it should wait before it needs to refresh this information. And here I'm going to use 1 day. So if a user comes, loads the data, it will be cached. If another user comes within 1 day, it's not up to 1 day, it will still be using that cached information until 1 day has passed before it will load this whole thing all over. So yes, so that's what we're doing here. Okay, so now we've fetched this. We're going to say if it doesn't have a response dot okay, this is something that will be passed along in this data that is gotten from this API. When it gets this data, it will get an what they call those things inside an object in an array property as okay. So if there's no property as okay, that means there was an error. So we're going to throw, sorry, let's be sick. We're going to throw new error and say failed to fetch data. So later on, I'll show you how this will get handled, but for now, just put this in your code. Okay, so then we'll come down, we're going to say constant data equals to await s.json constant result equals to data results. So now we're going to echo all of this in a result component. So we're going to, okay. So we're going to come to the components. We're going to create a new fab. We're going to say it's results.jsx rfc. Okay, we're just going to leave it results. Okay, so in this result, we're going to get a prop results. And we're going to come here. We're going to say class name. We're going to say small read, small read columns 2, large read columns 3, Excel read elements. Result.map okay, result.title. Okay, why is it showing me error here? Okay, the key prop. For now, you're going to have to do with without the key prop. So we're going to go back to our page, and in our page, we're going to call on, let's say div, let's say result. Is this how they spell result? Doesn't feel like how they spell result. Okay, so this is it. This is our top rated. This is our training. Ant-Man was Shazam Fury of the Gods. You can see all looking clean and neat. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to work on our error page. What happens if we are trying to load this data and an error shows up? That's why we have this here, show new error, failed fetch data. Now, to work on that error page, we're going to create a new file here, error.jsx. We're going to say RFC. We're going to tell it to use clients. Okay, so now in this error page, we can get props as error and reset. This error is simply just the information we get here, this information. And then this reset is to retry loading the main page all over again. So once we do this with the reset, we can now just try put error here, and then we can go to our page and then maybe just delete something to cause an error and refresh. Okay, so you can see there's an error with that, and we can see the error loading up here. So our error page is working successfully. So we're going to start our error a little bit. We're going to use the use effect so that immediately it loads, we're going to console log the error. And then in case the error changes, we want this use effect to reload. So once we do that, we can go back to our page and create another error again, reload. Okay, and you can see our error here, error failed to fetch data. All right, so we know that's working very well. So we want to style this a little bit. So we're going to go back to our error page. In our div, we're going to say class name, text center, empty 10, margin top 10. And we're going to say h1. We're going to say something went wrong. Then we're going to create a button. We're going to give it the class name. We're going to say on hover, text amber 600. Then we're going to say on click, event handler, reset function, and try again. So this reset here is the reset we get here. It's just telling you to retry the component again, try and reload it. So see the button here, you can see it's reloading, but it still has error. What we're going to do, we're going to go back to our page. We're going to delete this SS and retry. Application error. So let's just refresh the page. So everything is good. Once there's no error, we will not have any issues with our page. Now the next thing we're going to do loading. if this page is loading, we want some information to show rather than it just being blank. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new file here in our app directory. I'm going to title it loading.jsx. Okay, so then we're going to come here. We're going to say we need a spinner SVG. So we're going to call our favorite icon. We are looking for loading IO. Just like we got our favorite icon from here, we're going to get our loading spinner from here. So the page is loading. Okay, so we have different animations here. We're going to use this because I like this one. And we're going to change the color to edit. Just this. Okay, no, this is a palette. We don't want a palette. Okay. I think I've made a mistake. Let me just refresh the page. Select this again. Simple. Use this. Okay. Background color should be white. Transparent on. Okay. So this is okay. We want to get SVG animated. Free download. Download it. So now that we've downloaded that, come here, downloads. It's our spinner here. So we're going to put this spinner into our public directory. And we're going to rename this as spinner. Okay, so that's good. We're going to go back to our loading. We're going to style this a bit. Class name flex justify center image class name h height 96 source equals to spinner svg. What's wrong with our image? Okay. All right. Then we're going to put alt loading dot. We're going to save this. Come back to our application. Reload. We're supposed to see it briefly, very briefly here. Okay, we're not seeing it. So let's try and restart our application. Localhost. Okay. Okay, we're not seeing our. Let me see if I switch off my data. Maybe we would see it. No, I won't see it because of the cache data from the server. Let's try and restart the server again. Okay, I'm very sure you saw that. So it is working. We just saw it just now. So it's perfect. Now, this would work even without data. The reason being, how would I explain this? The reason being, with Next.js, everything is on the server. So when this loads, because in our fetch code here, we say it should validate every 1 day. So this is not going to, it's not going to fetch, this data is not going to fetch until 1 day has passed. That's how our code works, and that's why this data is going to be, even if you don't have data or not, it's just going to be, it's saved on the server as cache. So that's all with our loading. Our loading is done. Now we want to work on our results. All this information, how can we display it much better? So what we're going to do, we're going to work on the card component. So we're going to create a new file called card.jsx. IOC. Okay. Now we're going to pass on results. Okay. So in our results here, we're sending out the title, but we don't want to do this. What we want to do, we want to import card. Want to import card. Want to give it a key, because if you're mapping ReactJS, you need to give it a key, each individual element a key, a unique key, by the way. So we're going to say results.id. Then we're going to say the results should be passed on as a prop. So we're going to go to our card over here, and in our card.jsx, we get all that information from here. So it's not results, it's just results. We're also going to import a React icon, a thumbs up icon from React icons fi. We're also going to import a link. Okay, we're also going to import image. Okay, perfect. So now over here, we want to display it in a much better fashion. So we're just going to put some styling for us here. We're going to say class name. We're going to say cursor pointer and small p3 sm over shadow slate 400. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to hold on for this. Let's just leave that out of the way. Let's just display the image first and foremost. The image has a source, and the source is, okay, let me just paste the source for you guys. All right, so over here we have the source to be from the IMDB website, and then the result.backdrop part or the result.poster part. That's because we can get the image in either this in the array, or poster part. And then we need to put this in front because this is the source of all the images, and then this is the part. So we just add this to the back and then get the link off for the image. So before we can do this, we need to add this to our NextJS config file. If not, it's going to show us an error, like it's already showing us here. Here showing us is missing the required width property. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our this thing, next config file, and then we're going to come to our module exports experimenter here. We're going to say images, domains. I'm going to put that there. That's perfect. Our server has already restarted, so that's perfect. Then we're going to go back to our card.js. So this should be fine now, but we're going to have to give it a width of 500, and we're going to have to give it a height of 300. So I want to check that out and see how it's going to run now. So we're going to refresh. Okay, it's taking a bit of time. That's because of my network, I believe. Okay. So our data is fetching. Okay, so you can see all our images loading. It's still loading. The images are a bit much, so they're all loading in very high quality. That is beautiful. So we want to put some text. I want to style this a bit. So for the class name here, I've already prepared a bit of code. So I'm just going to copy and paste that, and then we'll go through it together. So cursor pointer, in small device there should be a border, transition shadow, duration 200, and then group. So nothing much, just something to style it a bit. Okay, so we have our width and our height. We want to also give this some styling. We'll say class name. We're going to say in small device, we want you to be rounded. At the top, and it should be large. On a group, far opacity should be 80. We want transition. There should be transition for the opacity. Shouldn't just happen instantly. The duration, transition duration to 200 milliseconds. They want to also give this a bit of styling. We want to make sure the max width is 100%, and then the height is auto. Then I want to also place holder, should be blur. This is the blur data URL. That means when the image is still loading, we want to show a spinner, and that spinner is already available to us in our public directory. And an alt, showing image is not available. This should show up when the image fails to load. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's refresh this from scratch. So you can see our loading spinner while the image is loading. Our network is not strong, so this image will load very, very slowly. You can see John Wick here. We can see this movie here. All very, very nice. So we also need a bit of text. So let's work on the text. Okay, so we need a bit of text. So we're going to say div class name. We're going to say padding 2. We're going to say p class name. Now okay, let me just paste this first. Results dot 05 here. Okay, so we have all this message here, right? So we don't want the message to be long, because sometimes you can see it's very long and then it stretches out everything in that row. So what we want to do, we want to limit the length of this text. So we can easily do that using truncate. Truncates. Size is taking your time to load. I don't know if it's my network. All right, so as you can see, the text has reduced to just one line. Now, even though it has reached one line, we want this to be at least 2 lines. On the default, it is 1 line. So what we can do is we can go and install a line clamp. So this line clamp, no, I need the installation. So all right, so we can install line clamp into our code. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down. The installation should be here. Give me a second. Okay, so I finally got the npm install I was looking for. We're just going to install this, and then we're going to come here and install our line clamp. I was unable to find the write-up about it, but I'm sure it can work. It will work perfectly fine. I'm sure it will work perfectly fine. So now that that's installed, what we want to do, go back to our card component. And here, instead of truncate that we're using here, we're going to use line clamp. I will say 2 lines. Come back to our code and run our code. While we're waiting for our code to run, I want you to make sure that you're clicking that subscribe button and also the like button. It really, really helps out. Thank you. Our network is a bit slow, very, very slow. Okay, so as you can see, it's now 2 lines instead of just 1 line. So while this is loading, we're going to continue with our code. So now that we've made these 2 lines, we want to go to our next. So I'm going to say class name. We're going to say this one, we're going to say to kit. This time we just need it to be 1 line. We're going to do we're currently doing the title. So just make sure it's 1 line. Text should be large, font bold. Now over here, we want to say the results dot title, or if that is not available in the array, say the results dot name, any of the two. Okay, so now that we got that, we want this instead of your p tag, we want this to be in capital, like a bit bigger. So we're going to say page 2. So next line, we're going to go with the p tag, class name. We're going to say flex items center. Inside here, we're going to show the release date of the movie. Release underscore date, or results dot first air date f, right? So thumbs up, class name, height 5, margin right 1, margin left 3. And then we also want to show the amount of votes that this movie has currently got, because we're showing the thumbs up here, so we want to show the vote count. Then we want to also wrap this all up in a div, in a link, because this will link to the individual movies themselves. Go down. Sorry. So in our link, we want to say to a dynamic page. So F to dynamic page. Movie results dot id. Okay, so let's check out our code now. Check this out. This looks okay. Everything looks solid. We just need our page to load a bit faster. Let's check our our page is loaded. Alright, so our page is loading faster now. Seems like the network is much better. So as you can see, our title looking nice. Our line clamp, 2 lines looking nice. Release date and vote count. So our page is looking neat and it's coming up. Let's check out the night mode of our page. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now our text needs to be a bit white, so we're going to fix that in a bit. But it's looking clean. It's looking clean. Okay, so we know we've been having issue with our dark class. I had to go through the code to see what the issue is because I didn't like this format. So it seemed like I made a mistake in the provider's component. Over here, I was supposed to add attributes to be class. Remember, we made this class in our Tailwind config, dark mode class. So we're going to refresh now. Try our dark mode again, and you can see it looks much better than previously. Now that we're displaying all our results, our movie page here, our movies here, if we click on the movie, we can see we navigate over to the /movie/the movie ID. So we need to display something on this page. So what we're going to do, we're going to come to our app directory. we're going to create a new folder and call it movie. Now we're using a dynamic param over here. This param will continuously change depending on the movie. As you can see, it's 6.4 here. If we go back and select another movie, you can see it's 9.3 here. So this is a dynamic part. So what we're going to do, we're going to come to the movie. We're going to create a new folder with brackets and call it ID. Then we'll create a new page under this ID folder called page.jsx. So now that we create this, we're going to import some things. We're going to import, or let's just say RFC. We're going to call this our movie page. Then over here, we're going to import image from next image. So now that we're here, now on this page, if we say movie page, let's come back. Our code is very slow. Okay. All right, it's slow. Let's click on this. So you can see the page comes to life, movie page, mind my spelling. So now we're going to display that movie on this page. So to do that, we need to get the ID that we put in the params. So we can get that with NextJS. We're just saying params here. And we can say constant movie ID equals to params.id. The reason it's ID is because we named it ID over here. So params ID. And now we're going to say constant movie. We're going to get await get movie. With our movie ID. Now this is a function. So we're going to create this function up here. We're going to say async function get movie. And we're going to pass in the movie ID that we passed in here. So we're going to use this. We're going to say constant res, because we're going to fetch the movie with the movie ID from our API, the movie DB org. So we're going to say await fetch. I'm just going to paste this code here. So in this code, okay. So in this code, in our API, we're saying movie/movie ID. This is what it will use to get the specific movie we're talking about, and then our API key. So when we get that result, we want to return, because it will return an array, an object for us. So we want to return it. Await result.json. So now that we've gotten that, we get it here. What's wrong with this? Async functions. Okay, so we need to make this an async. Okay, so this is an async function now. So this is okay. And this is not the correct spelling of movie. All right, so that's okay. So now that we get that, we've gotten our results. Now we want to display it to the user efficiently. So what we're going to do, we're going to say style this div. Class name, we're going to say width full. We're going to say div class name. We're going to say padding 4. Padding top for medium screen 8. Say flex. Cool. medium device, MD, Flex Pro, and items center, contents center, max W, 6XL, MX Auto, space X6. Okay, so we're going to display the image the same way we displayed the image in our main page. Maybe I should, let me just copy that from our main page. If we go to our results, sorry, our card, copy this image, put it here. So source the same way we did it, 500, 300 class name. We're going to change this to just rounded large, and style height 100%, and blur well poster. Okay, so that's that for our image. Then we also want to display more things, so let's try and refresh this page. Okay, what's the matter? It's saying result is not defined. Okay, the reason result is not defined is because instead of results we're supposed to use movie. Here it's supposed to use movie. So let's see how our image is looking. Try again. As you can see, we're using the error page that was created here in our main app directory. Here, this error.jx that's creating a main app directory. If you want an error page specific for this, you have to create an error.jsx inside this folder here alongside this page.jsx. If not, the default is we use the error page in our main source folder. Let's try again. It's showing us an error, and result is not defined. We don't have any results again. So let's try and refresh the entire page. Voila, we can see our image here looking neat. Now we need other info alongside this. We need some info here, so let's do that. Let's do that. So create some space for ourselves. We're going to say div class name padding 2. We're going to say h2 class name text og mb3 and font bold. Movie.title or movie.name, either of the two. Okay, so then we can now say p tag. It's our p tag class name. The text should be large, margin bottom 3. Let's say span class name, font semi bold, mr1. We'll see overview. Movie.overview. Okay, so after this, we're going to create another p tag. With the class name, margin bottom 3. I'm going to say span. Class name, font semi bold. Okay. All right, so our page is looking okay. We can see the title of the movie, a little overview, and the current rating. Let's go back. Let's see another movie, The Shawshank Redemption. See this one? Okay, so everything is looking neat and fast and responsive. Avatar: The Way of Water. Excellent movie, by the way. Okay, so we have our movie page done. Now we need to work on our search. We want to be able to search for any movie that we come up with. So we're going to go to our layout. In our layout, after the navbar, we're going to create a search box. This search box is going to be in our components. So we're going to create it here. See, search box.jsx. Okay, so let's work on our search box. Our search box, we're going to say RC. Search box. Here we're going to say use client because we're going to be using client function and clients and functionality like use state and use router and all those good ones. So we're going to go back to our layouts. Come here, command space. Is it command space? Control space. Yeah. Import it, save it. So refresh. Go back to search box and we'll just put here search box. Okay, so that search box should be somewhere. All right, see it here. So search box, we want a search bar here to search for our movies. About home. Okay, so we're going to go back now. Here we're going to import some things. We're going to import use state, and we're going to import use router. Okay. Now in here, we're going to change this div to a form. Okay. And we're going to create some inputs. Let's create an input. This input is going to be the search that we get. Let's refresh this. You can see it's a search box. So let's style this search box. We're going to say class name. We're going to say width should be full. H14. Rounded. Border radius. Placeholder should be gray. 500. Outline. None. Background transparent. Transparent, then the flex one. So let's save this. Okay, so our input box is here now. And we also want to create a button beside this. We're going to a button. As well as to say search. Then we're going to say class name. Into text amber 600. And then in this form, we're also going to style it. We're going to say flex max width 6 pixel mx02 justify between item center px5. So we should see our button now.
Okay, so these are our box, this is our search. Beautiful. Now we want to try and do two-way binding with this input with use state. So we're going to create a use state. We're going to say constant search, because what's going to be typed in there is the search. Set search plus to use states. Then we're going to come to our input. The value should be a search. And on change, I want to create a function. I will set search. I will set search with e.target for value. All right, then the type equals to text in place folder search keywords. All right, so on change, we're going to change the search value. So it's a two-way binding with use state. So now that is done, this button now is a submit type. So we're going to change the type to submit. And if there's nothing in the search, we want this button to be disabled, meaning we don't want this button to be clicked if the user has not typed anything into the search box. So we're going to say here, disabled, if there's nothing in search. And then in our class, we can style this to say disabled text gray for one step. So if we come back to our code, loading. Before it loads, it's very simple. Okay, it has load now. So you can see the button is gray. It's not clicking. I'm trying to click it right now. It's disabled. So until the user types in something, then the button will be enabled. So you can see now the button is working. So now that we have the button working and what we want here, we need to create a function to handle the onSubmit. So we're going to come here, we're going to say onSubmit, or we'll say handle submits. Okay, so we're going to create a function now. Function handle submit. And we're going to say e.prevent I'm very sure you guys know what that is. Prevent default is, it is to stop the page from refreshing when this button is clicked. Now, if there's nothing in the search, I want you to return. Now, if there's something in the search, our use router here, we're going to say constant router equals to use router. Then we'll come that back here. We're going to say router dot push the user to search stroke the search value the user passed for us. So right here, if there's nothing in the search, the function will end. And then if there's something in the search, the router will take us to this page. So if you can see here, let's type love and then click enter. It said next router was not mounted. Next router not mounted. Okay. Let me look at this. Router, use router. Okay, we're using next. First, this should be from next navigation. Let's refresh. Okay, so here we're going to type love again. Click on search. Okay, so now we can see here search, and we have the params here. Love this search word we searched, but here saying in 404 means this page could not be found, so we need to create that page. So we're going to come to our app directory. We're going to create a new folder. We're going to say search, and under the search we're going to create another folder. We're going to say search term. So we need to put this into brackets. So search term, because it's dynamic page. Then we'll create another file there saying page.jsx. Okay, here we're going to say RFC. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now that we're done that, we're going to say here search page. We're going to get our params. Okay, so now that we've gotten the params and the search what we want to search, we're going to pass it. We're going to use an API call with those params. We're going to say constant res equals to await fetch. Then I'm just going to copy this code and put it here. Now in this code, we're just using our API. We're saying the movie with the API key that we have and the query. This is a query. So we're going to query this params, the search term that we got from our params. We're going to we're going to query it, and once it's queried, it give us a list of results, and that result is what we're going to display to the user. Now in here we have and include adult false, meaning no adult content should be passed through this for under 18 users. If you don't want that, you can just delete this. I'm just putting it here so that you also are aware of it. So now that we've awaited that, this await is giving us issue because this is not an async function. So we need to make this an async function. Okay, and we should not have issue with that again. Then we should say if there is no res.okay, if there's an error, issue true error. Now remember, the error page that will be shown is error page from the main app directory. If you want an error page specific for this, you can just create that error.jsx beside here. Okay, then we're going to say here error fetching data. Then we're going to come down here. We're going to say constant data equals to await is JSON. Okay, so now we're going to get our constant result data.result. Once we get that data, all we have to do is come to our div. We're going to see if there's results and results dot length is equals to 0. Tell the user h1. Okay, tell the user h1 and class name text enter pt6. We can tell the user no results found else. Now if we have results, we're going to see this results, our results component, we're going to use it. We're going to pass in results into it. Okay, so this should be nice and neat. We're just querying using the API key to query, and it will give us a list of results, and then we're passing those results into our results component like we did for our home page, and that's just it. So if we search it, we see Marvel. I'll search. Yeah. Let's refresh this page. So let's see here, we're saying Marvel. Or you can see results of Marvel are coming up. So you can see Marvel. So that's it for our IMDB Clone. The app is looking really nice, really clean. So make sure you click the subscribe button. If you have any issues with your app creation, let me know in the comments. I'm always free to chat and to message. All right, see you guys in the next video.